Yo, what's going on, Latin Wealth family? Welcome to another episode to the Latin Wealth podcast. And we got another phenomenal guest on the podcast. I'm super excited about today because we're not in Dallas, we're not in Cali, we're in New York City. New York City always got the vibe, so I'm excited to be out here. And a little bit about our guest today. Our guest is a partner at this group, which is a marketing agency for influencers and talents, specifically helping manage some of the biggest influencers on social media. And they work with massive brands such as Nike, Puma, Netflix, Red Bull, and a whole lot of other big companies. They only work with big dogs. Only work with big dogs.
Nah, don't say that. Don't say
You know what I'm saying? But we have the pleasure of having the CEO on the podcast today. Welcome, Mike Rodriguez. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing wonderful after that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you to my wife. Be like, babe, before I walk in, Chris gonna tell you a little bit about me. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Oh man, no, for real, bro. I appreciate you having us at your space
Nah, for
and
sure.
having us in New York, man. This means a lot. But yeah, bro, how's your day going? You know what I'm saying? I know you're up early at it. You say you were early bird. So.
Yeah. Which means I'm old, right? So, no, I mean, I'm a very positive individual, and that's like my personal life, and it's like try to translate that to the business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always look. I'm a person. I look at the glass that whole half full, half empty. Everything is always half full.
Yeah.
I always tell people, if it's half empty to you, finish your drink and just please get away from me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just super positive, and it's not because it's a trendy thing. I feel like positivity is trendy, which is great
Yeah.
to throw out into the universe. But I'm really that person. I'm not saying I'm always, skipping down the block.
Right,
but,
right.
But I'm good, bro. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm happy that you're here. I appreciate
Yeah.
you
Right.
even coming, and like I told you, even off camera, like what you're really doing for the
Yeah.
community and stuff like that. I appreciate that.
For sure. And where's that positivity come from?
I want to say my mom, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. I grew up like that. We had some trials and tribulations, but it's like my mom is a life coach now. And I went through my own things, and, I'm constantly evolving as a person. I'm never ashamed to say I'm 48 years old. Some people be like, oh, no, nah, this is just what it is, right?
What it is, yeah.
The white didn't come just, I didn't ask for that, But I want to say it's my upbringing and just being around that, and I really realized that being around that energy. I was always taught, tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. And I see it, and I've noticed it, and I've had that experience in seeing, hey, if I'm in this circle, you kind of see what the vibe is, and then when you come over here, it's like, I want to be around this, and you see it, in the day-to-day life. But that's really probably where it comes from the home, and as a parent, I realized that too.
I heard that. So talk to us about your home and you growing up. You're obviously from New York.
Yeah.
Talk to us what part. You know what I'm saying? How was life growing up in New York?
I always say I'm from Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, but it's New York, and I've traveled a little bit. The core was in the Bronx. My grandmother, who meant everything to me, had a bar for 40 years in the Bronx. The entrepreneur spirit was heavy in my family. I'm into sports, so growing up, seriously, if I talk about my childhood, it was like my mom would be in network marketing meetings, like just even those things. Like I'm not a fan of it, right? Been down that road.
Right.
But the thing is that I grew up. I don't want to say grew up in the bar. That sounds crazy, right? I was young, but I saw what my grandmother did. She always spoke to me. She came from Puerto Rico, came here, started a driving business at first, right? To driving school, and then she had the bar, right? So it was always like that. And then my mom had an advertising specialties business, which we would call merch today. And she had a partner, and then she decided to go on her own. And at 10 years old, I named her company. I gave her slogan, and then I got her first 3 orders. So, and that was from my school, right? I'm 10. My mom takes me to the Bahamas. She's like, "This is your commission." So, like, these are little things that, as I got older, I realized what it is, right? Now,
That's powerful, though.
Yeah, the name of the company wasn't anything crazy. The slogan wasn't anything crazy. But what my mom, I don't think she realizes what she did,
Man.
right? Because that set that business aspect, like, wow, I did this. Now, the 3 orders I definitely did. I remember going to my coaches and be like, yo, my mom's doing blah, blah, blah. And being able to see, oh, wow, if I do this, I get that, right? And then, throughout even high school, I was working with her, doing data entry, answering phones before my voice got deeper. Oh, that's a nice girl you have working for, those type of things. But
Oh man.
it was that. It was sports. Like, that was my upbringing. Like, my parents got divorced when I was 5. Thank God for my stepfather. I mean, I'm very close with my biological father. I was fortunate enough to have a stepmother, a stepfather, and everybody got along. It was amazing. There was no conflict. So I grew up kind of in a good space. Like I always say, my difficulties, because between 18 and 22, that's a completely different story. Like I kind of went off, right? Like I was not me. I was finding myself. I always say I was having difficulty becoming a man. It was that boy to a man transition. And then I was in music. That's how I started with management.
So why were you having difficulty becoming, transitioning from a boy to a man? Like what was it?
What was happening
Was it your environment?
Well, what happened is that I was into sports, right? So what happens is that I play. My height didn't. I loved basketball, but I realized at a certain point I was like, okay, I think baseball I have a better shot. And I was just an athlete. I had a scholarship that I gave up for a female, and that's where everything kind of went south. Gotcha. It's not my wife. That would have been a great story, but it's not. And I had difficulty. I was dealing with a lot, right? Because when that happened, I got like depressed. I never did anything. I started drinking, started smoking. Like I was doing things that I was never doing. And there was so much going on. I was always told, hey, because my dad, he came out of Harlem, went to school, got his master's, I was told, hey, follow your dad, right? My mom and my stepfather were entrepreneurs, right? So, but they were like, hey, mimic your dad. And it was always like I had to be my dad. I had to be my dad. For me, that's what was my perception. And then I felt like I disappointed everybody. So I really went through some stuff, bro, like a lot. And, fortunately I had the foundation where I came out of it. You know what I mean? And, now, like I said, that's 20 some odd years ago, which is crazy. But, I'm big on that, even with business, with our talent. The person is the most important, and mindset is more important than anything else. Because if you don't have that, you're kind of done. But
I know, I love that. So, and that kind of leads me to the next thing. This, which is the name of your company, right? It's an acronym for trust, honesty, integrity, and success.
Correct.
I love that. I mean, what companies like, a lot of people out here, they don't stand on morals and principles, right? And I think I don't know if you guys still do this, but I was listening to an interview, and you guys do something a little different where, like, in the first 90 days, y'all don't do no paperwork, which that's nuts. You know what I'm saying? So usually people see talent, and they just want to immediately, like, slap them with a 360 or something like that, right? Yeah. So I would love for you to talk about, how you came up with that acronym, and, why are you guys trying to do something different like that? Like, why are you guys going in a different direction?
Right. So with my partner, Don, we ended up meeting. Like, we met on, it's funny, we met on social media, right? A friend of ours kind of, like, connected us. We asked, hey, how's this guy? How's this guy? And I used to do videos called, I used to do Good Morning every morning and try to give, like, a little gem to whoever was watching or whoever needed.
On social media.
Yeah, on IG, yeah. So Don reached out. It's like, yo, we should link up. And then the joke is that I dubbed him. That I was like, yeah, sure. I'm telling you, bro, like, it's hilarious. And I look back, I said, damn, bro, I was a little, you know what I mean? But long story short, we ended up meeting in his office at the time. And it was supposed to be an hour meeting, like when you meet. And we ended up being there for like 3 hours. And it was just finding somebody that was like me, like same values, same more. It was just like, and scorned too, like been through it where, got screwed over, right? In a lot of situations. So I went home. The next day I woke up, took a shower, and I called him. I said, yo, bro, I know we just met yesterday. And I know this is going to sound weird, but just hear me out.
And what year was this?
This was 2020. 2020. I said.
Before pandemic or after?
Right before. We met,
Really?
I want to say January, because this is our third year. So we met in January of 2020. Yeah, that's when this conversation happened. I said, don't take this the wrong way. I was in the shower. I was thinking about you. Oh. Hold on.
Pause.
Exactly. No, but I said, yo, we should come together as a company. Like, we should form like this coalition. We need to call it this group. It needs to stand for trust, honesty, integrity, success. And we rock. And he was like, yo, definitely. I was like, I'm gonna call my man in L.A. Like, we were really trying to put this coalition together. And now it ended up, after all of going through things and people trying to work out, it just ended up being me and Don and our CFO. And it was just really the different approach was this industry, how we look at it is like the influencer market is like how hip hop was, right? Where brands started to take advantage, and especially the black and brown, right? They're like, hey, dance, do this. I know this is popping. I'm gonna give you $20. I'm just using that number. Give you $20 and go ahead. And people would take it because it's like, damn, I'm only doing this and I'm getting this money. But the difference is with hip hop now, like, we know what that was. So Don and I are like, we're not letting that happen here. And that's really how we do that. That's why when people, as far as contract, we're not, there's transactions clearly, but we're not transactional, right? If I meet you, I meet you, Chris, and you're talented, and like, all right, let's have a conversation. Let's see. Like, representation and management is different. For us, we have, like, with a partnership, we have about $2 billion in reach, right? But with management, it's very small, and we're selective. So when somebody comes and says, hey, I think, I need a manager, or somebody reference, it's almost like an interview. Oh, Mike, we always get, oh, Mike, I got, like 300,000 followers. I don't care about that. What's your name? What's your real name? Not your IG name. What's your name? Oh, my name is, Jim. All right, Jim, let me talk to you. Why'd you start doing this? Family, like, really getting to know the person, because at the end of the day, management and a client, that's a relationship. And I don't want to sit there and look at the phone and be like, yo, bro, yeah, what's up? No, I want to see if you're a good person. We need to see that, because we're going to put our time and effort into you. And that first 90 days, it's kind of like, let's see what's up, right? Let's see where we're at, because I also make the analogy of, if you meet somebody in a club or whatever, right? And y'all vibe and y'all hit it off. And you're like, all right, come live with me. Be like, whoa, I just met you. We cool, but let's see. So we do that. And, again, it's unconventional. Yeah. People don't do that. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to I don't want to lock you down. Like, who wants to do that? Yeah. Who wants to go through that hassle, right? So, we actually care about our clients. We're trying to build our clients. It's not just about what can we squeeze out of you. We don't convince our clients to do things. We have conversations and we try to build them up, build their career, because they have people, I'm sure, that they want to put on and do whatever. So we can help you with that. That's what we try to do.
No, that's powerful, because, how many times these creators may come to you and, initially they may not have a whole lot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. Like, a lot of creatives, they're trying to figure out a way to make money and whatnot. Maybe they're getting a little bag here and there. And I love that you guys have the mindset, like, we don't want to take that from you off top.
Yeah.
We want to help you. You said it a couple of times. We want to build you up.
Right.
And there's a lot of people out there that just want, like I said, they want to hit you with, like, I need half of everything, and then we'll make something happen, right? And honestly, I won't get into the specifics, but, like, even with this podcast, like, I've been in situations, like, damn near signed it where, like, yo, we can help you get you here. We just need damn near 40% of everything. And it's like, now you got to take a step back and really analyze that. And like you said, for the black and brown community, we need to get more educated about that, right? Because we hear, like, yo, you can get us with Spotify or Apple specifically, and that sounds good. Or, like, yo, we can give you, what is it? When they give you the money, the advance, I'll give you a $50,000 advance up front, and it sounds good for the people that don't have it yet, but it may not be the best outcome for them on the back end. And I love that you guys take them through that process at 90 days, fill them out. And I'm sure it's, what I'm saying, it's probably real casual. You know what I'm saying? It's
because it's also,
I'm trying to learn about you.
Right, and it's also setting expectations, right? We're not signing anything. We're here, let's just figure this out. Something else that we do as well is, especially because not every creator or immediately, comes here and they're making, 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, some are on the come up. They're making a couple of $100. Yeah. Maybe $1,000, Yeah. So what we do is anything $500 or less, we don't take a cut. Because at $500, 20% of that is $100. Now, we've built ourselves, right? What is, not with all due respect, what is $100 going to do for us? Whereas somebody's coming, that might be your cell bill.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So we want to build you,
Yeah.
and that's how you have to show it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you could talk all day, right? This whole industry, and I put this in the entertainment industry, music, all that. Everybody talks the talk, right? And it's like, yeah. Oh, trust me, blah blah blah. But in our community, especially, money talks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm telling you I'm gonna work for you and I'm gonna work this deal, but I'm not gonna take anything from it because I want to help you and build you. Whether you want to or not, that's an action step that's taken to show you
Mm-hmm.
you can trust us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's not manipulation. It's just what it is. Like, that's just how we feel, and we're very different, and it's okay. I'll take that. I know what this industry is. I think it's like now, whatever, it's a certain couple billion, and then it's the next few years they said 25 billion. It's gonna be, it's money. It's just like hip hop when it started seeing money. Okay, let's get in there, but you don't know what it is, and when you don't actually care about us, us meaning creators, right? Because I'm a creative at heart. I started as a dancer, right? So I understand. Art is never wrong, right? However you do your podcast is not wrong. This is a form of art, right? However you
Sure.
speak and how you do it, nobody can tell you that it's wrong. Now, if you're talking business and there's certain things, hey, maybe there's some adjustments, but this is your heart. Like, hey, this is what I want to speak about. This is how I want to deliver it. Nobody can tell you that.
Yeah. That's a fact.
We actually just care. Like I said, we actually care. And clearly, a lot of these WMEs and CAAs, all these companies have been around for a while. Clearly, they make more money. Their bottom line is clearly more than us. But
The relationship.
check in 5 years, we're gonna be there, and also we'll be in that room. And you might have a little bit more money. How many lives have you changed? How many people have you empowered? Because that's how we're about. We're not bosses. Bosses want power. We're leaders. We want to empower. That's like our thing.
No, for real. And I love that because, I mean, just being here for an hour or so, I'm watching how y'all operate, and y'all operate like a family. You know what I'm saying? Y'all leaning on each other. You guys, chopping it up. You know what I'm saying? There's no secrets, none of that. I can tell just by being here for this amount of time.
Yeah.
So you and Don, you tell Don that idea. He's on board. So what's the next step for you guys? Getting talent? Do you already have the connection?
No. Well, we literally just started because it's funny how we got into this partnership was for our talent, right? So I had Chicle and Melanie, right, and I had built them, right. So in this relationship, that was my son and daughter. Let's just say, Don had his client, which was Jufu, who was big on TikTok, music, got his deal with Universal. So our thought process, for the both of us was, hey, for me, I was like, well, Don might have more relationships that could help out Chicle and Melanie. And he was like, damn, Mike might have some relationships that'll help out Jufu. And that's how it started. But in my process, I had relationships too, like with the Ken Stars and Commodore. Like we were, I would get deals in certain situations because what happens is that when you're a genuine individual, and I am, and that's why Don was the same way, it was like, okay, we loved how we worked and how this went. It was smooth. Who else you got? Didn't have anybody. I didn't want to do that. I've had people come, hey, can you manage me? But I didn't want that because I wanted to get Chicle and Melanie to a point where I felt that, I don't want to say that it was coasting, but that they were good because I look at Chicle like a son. So I was like, his first 6 months that I got with him, I didn't take any bread, like nothing. I was like, yo, I'm gonna go so you could see, right?
And when did you get with him?
2017.
Got you.
So that was July of 2017. We were at a meeting with it was the first meeting actually with Tidal and Rock Nation that they wanted to give him a web series deal. And we got downstairs. He was like, "Yo, Mike, I had no idea what the hell they were talking about." And I was like, and I had taken 3 years off. Like I was done. That's a whole other conversation. But I was like done with all of this. But for him, I was like, yeah, because he's my uncle through marriage. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. And he was like, yo, basically it was like, Mike, can you do this? And I said, yep. So I said, these next 6 months, bro, I know you know Uncle Mike. I'm going to show you Manager Mike. I don't want any money from you. I'm just going to let's go. And that's what we did. And then January of the following year, we started. We had Melanie, and then we just built it out.
And what did that first 6 months look like for y'all? Like, I mean, this is still a relatively new space. So was it just like pushing out content, trying to grow? What did it look like?
Yeah, well, it was at that time. It was like hostings. I remember the first time we went to like this little lounge, right? He was like, "Yo,"
Hosting. Okay, okay.
yeah, he was like, "Yo, this dude wants me to come through." He was like, "Yo," I was like, "All right, so we'll go."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. He really wasn't getting money from this
Mm-hmm.
as of yet. And I came out. I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna give you $350 in a bottle, $350
In a
in a bottle."
bottle.
And he was like, "What?" I'm with it. You know what I mean? You gonna pay me to go chill? This is what I want to do. And then it just kind of went from there. And obviously the consistency. And to me, he's amazing. He's a creative genius. I know people use that word a lot, but I see a lot of what goes on with it. I never. Why we work so well is because I'm a creative, and he can throw ideas to me, but I don't stifle it. Right? Like you have to be okay with that. And they allowed me to do the business, and the trust was a big thing, right? So that's where you have to, where it has to happen. And I also played my role, like it was very difficult for him when we go to hostings. I would take your jacket, you need water, what do you, I said, yo, Mike, what do you do? I said, bro, when we're in the car, I'm your uncle. Here, I'm your manager, and I got to take care of you. I don't care if I'm 20 years older than you. You are my client. And I was able to play that, and I think a lot of younger people can't because their ego's involved. It's like, yo, my man, I ain't grabbing your jacket. I used to wipe your ass. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like, so I think that's why it worked. And I think, I wish I was at this position when I was 25, but that just wasn't my calling. Where I'm at, I'm in the best space, and I think I needed to do this, and it's okay. Most of the time, I'm the oldest guy in the room. And I don't care, right? I just know because I'm aware. Like I know that I'm not 22, but I also know I was 22.
Yeah.
But when I was 22, it's not the same as being 22 today. So I don't sit there, and I never disrespect where you're at in your life because things are different. Yes, again, I was, but this is different. And once you start to understand that, that's when you're able to speak because it's not that whole my day and please. But we had the conversation. I said, I can learn from you. I learn from my 12-year-old. It's not, I know everything. I have experience. Yes, there's scenarios. I sit there, but I respect everybody for who they are, what they are, and I allow people to be themselves, and I just try to do whatever I can do.
Yeah. No, I love that you have such an open mind, especially with the creative process.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's throwing ideas at you that you're just like, I didn't think about that. Or I've never like, what's up with this? Because at the end of the day, damn near any idea could be a good idea as long as you execute on it.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the person that thought of paper clips, someone was probably telling them that's a bad idea, but we use it every day of our lives. You know what I'm saying?
1,000%.
So I love that you are open-minded about, especially with the youngins that are bringing new ideas to the table, and you're like, all right, let's execute on it. You know what I'm saying?
I love that you still use paper clips.
By the way, I don't know if I still use them. You might still. No, for real though. So dope. So now, fast forward now, what are some of the services that you guys offer to your clients, to the talents that you have on board, for the people that are curious out there?
Well, it started as management. Because of our relationships, turned into marketing, and now we're in media. We just signed with the network for one of our clients to have a show. We're about to start shooting that in the next few weeks. Right now, we're at a point, I think we're capped for talent, right? Somebody's like, oh, what does that have to do? Somebody be managed with you. We need more managers. That's what we need, right? I want younger people that are punctual. Like ideally that's what I'm looking for. We just had a meeting last week with like two others that we think is going to be dope. Because right now Don and I are in the overseeing aspect of it. We definitely focus on the marketing aspect. I love that because I get to be creative with that. Brand comes, we work according to your budget, right? We never say, oh, it costs this, it costs that. What's your budget? What are you trying to do? I let you know if we can do that. We try to, we don't care if it's your money or our money. We always want to make the money stretch. But the marketing, I get to get creative, right? We get to speak about, hey, we were thinking about doing this. This is the idea. We can do this. We can do that. And the media side is like a passion for me too. Don handles like more the music side. Like I think I'm scorned from music, right? I love it, but I just don't want to deal with it. I'm over it. Like
Yeah, you had
everybody
it.
in the team will tell you, yeah, the music, yeah. I'm like, don't want no parts of that. Like I'll speak about it, like marketing and strategy, but I don't want to get like I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't want none of that. But yeah, it's management, marketing, and media right now, and then we have this space, which is a completely other aspect of the business too. We're gonna bring in an education piece to
Dope,
it.
dope. Um, Shifting gears a little bit, I would love, since you said you're 47, 48.
48. We'll
48.
go with 47, but
He said we go 47.
not 48.
So you've been having this entrepreneurship mindset for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about being prepared to hear the word no as an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you got the door shut on you a couple of times.
Yeah.
There might be some young people out there that are looking up to you like, man, I'm getting turned down. I can't build a relationship with clients. How did you deal with those no's early on, and even to maybe recently?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the beginning it's very tough, right? Because you know you hear all of these no's, and then you get into a position where it's great when you're the one to be able to say no, and that's where we're at. I always tell people the power of no is incredible.
Right.
Right. Now on the come up, you're gonna hear that. You have to hear that. I remember being in, when I was managing music and artists and up and coming, and I'd be in Epic, right? And somebody say, "Hey, come up for a meeting," and I remember this vividly, being in the office, hey, come up at let's just say 1 o'clock. Yeah, I was up there for 6 hours before the dude saw me, and I'm like, when I look back, what does that say? That says that I don't have anything else to do, right? But it's the come up. You have to do that. You got to hear no. I tell my kids this. I tell everybody that, there's a lot of cliches that are out there, but they're true, right? The more no's you hear, the closer you are to a yes.
That's a fact.
But there's always that in parentheses, you can't. January I go and they said no, and then August I went and they said no. If you're doing that, you're not working. And now you're I'm always hearing no, but you're not even doing anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There was a situation, I had a family member, I need money. Not asking me for money. They were just talking to me I need money. I was like, well, are you looking for a job? Nah, I got to get a loan. I got to figure this out. I said, but why don't, and I'm a big energy and universe guy. I'm like, why don't you just start looking for a job? And things will happen.
Yeah.
And people don't believe. When you don't believe, you have to believe that.
Yeah.
But people want answers. They want, give it to me now. Figure this out. Boom. And that is the biggest detriment to anybody. Because you sit there and it's like, oh, they told me no. And then you get in your own head the stories. Maybe you weren't experienced enough. That's okay. But now you know what you just got? Experience. I'm being somewhere and maybe you said no, and maybe I shouldn't have said that. Okay, great. Because there's going to be things that's going to happen. Because trust me, I'm 48. I remember when the first meetings that I went, I thought I was who I was. I remember going to a record label and they reached out, right? Where the leverage is great when they reach out. And I walked in there, I was like, yeah, it was a single. What are you guys looking for? I was like, I'm looking for $500,000. Dudes thought I was crazy. I learned from that, right? So you have to embrace the no's, and people don't like to. It's like, how is that possible? No, you have to embrace the no, because when you start to look at that, it's like, okay, I just learned from that. That's how you got to look at everything. Everything is an experience. Everything. So if you get a no, it's cool.
Yeah.
Just, figure it out. It's the mindset. That's all.
it.
That's all.
No, I love that because that's how I operate too. I say the same thing to my wife. I'd be like, she's like, if I go through something that's considered a failure, I'm like, I don't see it as a failure. It's just a lesson learned.
Yeah.
And what can I learn from the situation? And like you said, every no is getting you closer to that one yes.
Yeah.
And you only need one yes.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So you mentioned, shifting gears a little bit more, you mentioned your family, you mentioned your sons a little bit. I'd love for you to dive into just how do you balance being an entrepreneur and having, I think you have 3 boys and a wife, being a family man, making sure that everybody gets the proper energy and love that they deserve. How do you balance that?
You prioritize things, right? And that's why, for me and Don, we're family men, right? And we say, don't tell me you don't have time. With all the stuff that we got going on, and we still make time to do what we got to do. I'm a very active husband. I'm a very active father, right? So I wake up and even though my wife could do it, I want to take my son to school. I try to maneuver my meetings and everything around being able to get back in time to pick up my son. Because I don't want to be the guy I've never wanted to be the guy that's the dad or the husband that is just like, hey, I make the money, here it is, I got home, kick my feet up, where's my dinner? Like I'm not that at all. I wasn't raised in that. You know, I was raised. My stepfather took wonderful care of my mom. Like, he's 76. She's gonna be 70. They're gonna be 76 and 75, and they're madly in love with each other. Right? I saw my stepfather and how he moved. I saw him build a business too. I saw my mom. All of that. It's just priorities. But sometimes something has to sacrifice. Like for me, like I always tell people, I don't want to waste my time with certain things, and I'm able to do that now. Whereas before on the come up, it's hard to do that because you have to figure out what's a waste and what's not, right? And then you have to be okay if you make the decision that that was a waste and that blew up or whatever. Take that and understand that. But for me, if I'm gonna do something, and it's gonna be time out of the house, it has to be worth it because I'm here. Please don't waste my time. Because I could be home with my son. I could be helping her head off the tee, whatever, just talking, being with my wife, whatever it is, right? So you have to learn. Like I don't think anybody can give you the answer of how do you do that. You have to see your life because your life might be different than mine, right? Your schedules and how it is and priorities. Priorities might be like, yeah, I just love watching movies, and I want to make sure every Friday I'm home watching movies. For me, I've tried to carve out the weekends. As we've been growing and business has gotten bigger, it's kind of like now it's just kind of Sundays. But even that, I try to have that, like, create that. But I'm able to do that. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm that guy, but you create what you want. Nobody can tell you what you want to do. So, you're not making $25 million a year, so you can't stop. We live in this money over everything, and that's not what it is. Like, for us at least, I'm passionate over everything, and I know society is like, got to get the bag, chase the bag. I'm like, I don't say chase the bag. I say pick up your luggage. That's the money that's there for you. It's right here. This is for me.
Yeah.
But you chasing money and chasing money. My family is everything. My family is everything. Like I said, I love my wife. I love being a father.
That's dope. That's super dope. I always tell people, like, for me, I feel like when people ask that question, I just wanted to see what you would say. But to me, there really is no balance because for how I operate, like you said, it depends for everybody else. But I feel like it's seasons. Like right now, I'm in a season where this is really important, and my wife understands that, and she's gonna fully support it. And there may be season where like I need to pour maybe more into my health, or maybe hit the gym more often. Or it's just like it's just kind of an ebb and flow. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if anybody can ever be perfectly balanced with like work is on point, family's on point. You know what I'm saying? There might be some times where you got to pour into it.
But think about that. Nothing comes without a sacrifice. For sure. So if you are balanced, then you're probably an average person, which is fine. That's fine.
No, yeah.
That's cool. When I was in the Bronx and I got my job, I had worked for Verizon, right? And I got my job. Dudes on my block was like, you good. You could retire. You straight. It's a union job. What? You got, my man, you great. I don't want, that might be great. That might be your end all. Yeah. Like, I didn't say that. Nah, that's what's up. Appreciate that. But I had
that was just a step.
It was just what I had to do at the moment, right? It was just what it was. But again, everybody's perception is different. And then, you take it a step further. It's like, some of those people just knew the block. They weren't exposed to certain things, so that was their end all be all. Maybe they were raised talking about you got to get a union job, you can only be a cop, or whatever it is. I don't know, and you just don't know what it is. But again, for me, that just wasn't my end all. But I always say that you gotta have sacrifice, and like you said, I agree with that. I like that. It is seasons.
I think that's powerful because it kind of goes back to how you were brought up. You said at 10 years old, you went to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
So like there's more than just the Bronx. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know that if you put the work in as an entrepreneur, like you can go to Puerto Rico like you just did with your family. You know what I'm saying? So you already knew like, nah, this is just a step for me to get to where I want to be.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've been exposed to a lot, right? Yeah. So I lived in the Bronx, lived in Yonkers, went upstate, went to high school upstate, right, Putnam County. and then came back to the Bronx. And then, it's just I lived in Arizona for 4 months when I had to get away from the city, and not on no witness protection. Just had to-
Yeah. How was we can start wrapping this thing up, but
Okay.
how was living in Arizona compared to New York?
Bro, like, when my time in Arizona, bro, I really thought I was who I was, bro. I was out there, thought I was on 125th Street. I remember I was in Mesa, Arizona, and I was on I used to rock bandanas, and when I had hair, I had a little part, whatever, and I was walking down the block with a radio. Yo, bro, it's crazy. And I was just like, so, like, when I look back, I'm like, yo, you're such a clown. But it was like, that was just part of my thing. It was definitely completely different. I almost stayed out there, like I was like, yo, I was looking for an apartment. I was like, yo, maybe at that time rents were mad cheap. I was like, damn, I could get a crib, 2-bedroom for $450 a month.
That's nuts.
But
I always tell people I always think it's so incredible that every decision in your life means something, and it's like almost like the butterfly effect. You know what I'm saying? If you would have stayed out there, we would not be here.
No, for sure.
So it's like every decision that you walk through in your life, it means something, and it definitely needs to be accounted for. You know what I'm saying?
1,000%.
So that's crazy. But yo, Mike, man, I really, really appreciate you coming on the podcast. I appreciate you letting us use your space. We always ask our guests this one last question before we bounce out, and that is, who is one person that needs to be in the Latin Wealth podcast? The only rule is you got to know them. You got to have them in your contact.
You're mad smart, bro.
Put them on the spot.
Yo, I rock with you, bro. You like the Cali, you smart.
Put them on the spot.
No, who? As far as because of this whole Latin aspect of
it don't matter, bro. It could be anybody.
To be honest with you, there's two people. You had mentioned one. I would love to speak to Crazy Legs.
Yeah,
that's number one. But I sit there and talk about all my Spanish influencers. You got Ken Stars. But Hugo Sanchez might be a good person.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the founder of Modi app, which is it's kind of like Venmo, PayPal, Cameo, all mixed in one. So you can literally be paid for your consultation through an app, and it's awesome. Once I saw the concept probably 3 years ago, I was like, yeah, bro, that's amazing, and he's a dope person to speak to. So Hugo Sanchez, I would say. And anybody, bro, I got you.
We're going to tap in. But, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you, if they have any questions? I know you said, you guys are kind of looking for, managers right now. You already have a couple candidates. But if they just want to connect with y'all, where can they reach out to you?
Everything you could go to is, IG or our site, thisgroupinc.com or, at thisgroupinc.com.
Yeah. And, we can find us at Latin Wealth on Instagram. I'm going to link everything that you just said right now in the description of this podcast. And with that being said, it's your boy Chris. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.